Welcome to your Astrology and Spirituality Overview show for Thursday, the 11th of March. Welcome. I always get a little text off my mum on Thursday, the 11th, well, on the 11th of March, because it was my christening. So she always texts,
lovely.
Happy Christening Day.
Wow, your mum's incredibly thoughtful.
It's really cute. Today we're using the Archangel Oracle card. So let's see.
Also, Elisa's midpoint between her sun and her moon is actually 5 degrees in the sign of Pisces. And my draconic ascendant is at 20 degrees in Pisces. And of course, in our draconic charts, both of our moons are in Cancer. My Venus is there as well. And that is in my 4th house. And so, yeah, the whole sort of like watery thing is quite strong with us.
Yeah. So the card that comes up today says, Beloved One. Oh, that's really nice.
Beautiful.
It's Archangel Samuel, and it says, I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship.
Did you say Samuel?
Samuel, yeah.
Right. I thought had you need to change your teeth or something?
I love it. No, Samuel is the correct pronunciation. And
I must clarify, I do still have all of mine.
Archangel Samuel is an angel we can go to if we feel like we've lost something or we're looking for something.
Okay.
So it's very much like if we're stuck on our life purpose, don't know where we're going, don't know what the future holds, looking for a partner. Samuel is a good angel to ask. If we've lost a piece of jewelry, if we've lost, our marbles in some way, we can ask Archangel Samuel and usually...
Lost our marbles? Blinking hell, I lost those long ago. And a lifetime searching has revealed nothing.
I remember losing my marbles. Like, I used to be obsessed with, actual marbles.
Do you know, old-fashioned marbles are so gorgeous,
I used to collect them, and I was at my grandparents' and I was crying, saying, I've lost my marbles. And they would just kept laughing at me, and I was getting more and more, annoyed. Why is it so funny to you? But anyway.
I'm not surprised by that.
They might turn up now. My marbles might turn up.
Well, we did have some here, and I don't know where they've gone.
So you lost your marbles?
Well, yeah, because those antique marbles are so beautiful, the glass, aren't they?
Yeah,
I have no
really
idea where they've gone, so I have officially lost my marbles.
Well, we'll ask Samuel, and he might be able to. So if you have got a missing object that you really looking forward to finding, then give it a little experiment, see how it goes.
What I love about Elisa is she brings so much knowledge to my life, because of course I'd never heard of Samuel before, but as she told me about this in the pub after we'd had a few pints of real ale, I really don't think I could have kept it together. Oh, bless you. So in terms of the astrology, I just wanted to say we've got this magical week manifesting, but the grumpy rulers of Aquarius are still there causing trouble. So Aquarius energy causing trouble. Now that's not necessarily new in my case. So you got Saturn, which is the co-regent of Aquarius, and that's the traditional ruler. The duality comes from the fact that, yes, Uranus was a much more recent discovery, and that's, this idea that Aquarians are zany, quirky, changeable, very left field. And the actual truth is, I think for a lot of Aquarius people kind of live those dualities. And it does depend on when you were born in Aquarius, under which 12th harmonic, where we divide each of the 30 degrees of that sign by 12, and that gives it a different zodiac sign influence, apart from the first 2.5 degrees, which are Aquarius. And then, of course, there's the decans. And so Mercury and Venus come into decan 2 and 3. And so obviously they're very different energies. So, yeah, Aquarius energy can be stormy. It can be revolutionary. It can be determined to be a bit different. It can be stubborn because it's a fixed sign. It can also be very visionary. So Aquarius people often do see the trends in society, or people who've got very Aquarius charts, like an ascendant, the moon, or perhaps they've got also along with the planetary placements, they've actually got a lot of 11th house in their charts. I wanted to tell you this about Meghan Markle, because a few people have written to me and said, well, what's my view on Meghan Markle? So I think it's a very complex situation what's going on there, to be honest. I mean, we're recording this before the show has aired on the telly. But I think that, clearly the kind of life that she was used to was severely curtailed when she went to Buckingham Palace. And it is very much a sort of rules-driven gig, isn't it? Can you imagine how oppressive that must be? But I just looked at her chart, and she does have a spark in her chart, there's no doubt about it. But if we look at her draconic chart, she has a stellium of planets in her natal chart in the sign of Libra, which may give her that inclination towards social justice. And then if we change it to draconic, where we move the north node to 0 degrees Aries, the vernal point, her sun and all that stellium goes into Gemini, but in mainly the 11th house of her natal chart. So 11th house, very Aquarius. And then if we look at her draconic Uranus, it sits right on her natal ascendant in the sign of Cancer. So she's got a Cancer ascendant, very sensitive. That could be where she has a compassion for people who are less fortunate. But if you put Uranus there, the draconic Uranus on there, that gives her quite an Aquarius kind of nature, I'd say. So very much a rebel, prepared to, take great risks, really, to speak her truth, which, of course, her truth may not necessarily be how other people view it. But that gives you a bit of an idea of why she might be orientated towards women's rights, can be outspoken, a force to be reckoned with. Now, of course, in her natal chart, she also has Mars in the 12th house, which can be deeply psychological in Cancer, where it's in 4. So Mars in Cancer people can be a bit abrasive and defensive, but it does forge a series of right angles with the Moon and Saturn in her natal chart. And also Mars is in a direct square with a 4th and 5th house cusp. So I think that does lead to, maybe some tensions around. She also has Pluto in the 4th house. So very powerful stuff around her emotional life. And then in terms of the planets in the sky, she has the moving Pluto is squaring up with her natal Pluto, and also with her progressed Venus, and also the moving Pluto in the sky, which is very much about power, is right on her descendant. So very much about relationships, and Pluto can lead to the destruction of things as well as things being rebuilt. So you have the moving Pluto opposite a draconic Uranus, draconic being her soul chart, which is conjunct her ascendant in Cancer. So although she's a Leo and she has Mercury very close to the Sun in the 1st house, along with the North Node, so she needs to be very much her own person, I think going into that Buckingham Palace environment and all the briefing that's gone on over the years, you can imagine on both sides, the British press have had an appetite for gossip and have used various techniques which I'm sure are not only going on in Britain, but I think they became very widespread. So you can understand why Harry's viewpoint is very protective about how he feels his mother was hounded by the press. The key is, of course, these people also use the press and the media when it suits. But I think it is a very complex story, but you can see that there is a very strong person there with a very Aquarius type of nature, I feel.
Oh, thank you so much for breaking that down. I really enjoyed it.
Also, in her draconic chart, it also means the Sun is in Aries, and as is Mercury, and they're actually opposite her Moon and her Saturn in her nativity. So quite a complex journey. So when she came into this world, I think that she's had some challenges, and maybe she is a forceful person in some ways. Maybe she does or has got people's backs up. But I feel that there is definitely a more nuanced picture to this whole backstory. And a lot of it is to do with people digging around the lack of privacy people have. And it must be very difficult when you're a public figure to that degree to be talked about constantly. Mm-hmm. And whether there is a racism in terms of the press's reporting in this country, I think there probably has been some of that. I think the wider public, from what I could see, didn't seem to see it that way. But I do feel that, if I can only be truthful about my own experience, I do think that Britain is a very racist country, and I think Brexit, unfortunately, has brought that to the fore, and I think there is a lot of prejudice in this country and a lot of small thinking. So, you know, that's just my view on it. Doesn't mean to say that my view is right. It just happens to be my view. So I hope that gives a bit of resonance to that Aquarius energy, and why Aquarius can be complex, because it can very much be about dignity, nobility, purity, finding the higher truth, but it can also be a rabble-rouser and determined not to be silenced, which I think really sums up Meghan Markle.
Complex, but interesting.
So just to explain that again, so the Draconic chart is where we move the North Node from the natal chart to 0 degrees Aries, the vernal point. Now obviously the dragon, if you like, the North and the South Node are points of the moon's intersection on its journey, and so in a nativity the North Node is a hugely important point. So the Draconic chart is something that I've been interested in for about 3 years, and Draconic astrology is almost like, it could be said, your past life, and it could be said the potential you come into this world with. It can also be your soul chart, if you like. So in Elisa's chart, her soul sun is 0 degrees Aquarius, conjunct my natal sun. Whereas my soul sun is 22 degrees Gemini. So still in the house 3. So we retain the house position that all the planets are in the nativity, but it does change quite a lot. I will do a special video on Draconic astrology soon. We just haven't had any time at all the last 6 months.
But if you would like to, you know, order your Draconic chart to have a little look at what yours would be, you know, they're really affordable. We'll leave the link in the description box beneath this video.
Yeah, please check out the chart store. You know, unless it's somebody whose North Node is in their natal chart around about 0 degrees Aries, and one person, well, I say one person, or one being you will have heard of is Jesus Christ, because it's said that people who have, I think his was about 29 degrees Pisces, but you know, it's said that people who come into this world at that point have a purity about them and don't necessarily have a past life in the same way. So
it's interesting that their Draconic would be the same as their natal. So maybe you're one of those people.
So it makes a person like that more unified in their purpose in this lifetime. But for now, if you'd like to check out your free daily horoscope, please do so below. But from the A team, it is
goodbye from him,
and it's goodbye from her.
Goodbye.